Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and we have some info on this summon event coming this weekend in Raid. I brought up the wrong thing. In Raid Shadow Legends, here we go on Friday, the 13th of February. Happy Valentine's Day in advance, by the way. But we're getting a 2x event for epics and legendaries from Void Shard. So as I expected, that is happening. And obviously this is, if you want to see the full breakdown of my fusion plan for Naldo of the Gloaming, check out that particular video. But yeah, we guessed it was 2x Voids. It is. I think you're looking at about 25 Void Shards is a rough guess for how much you would need to get the full 15 fragments. Now, you only need 110 fragments, so you could skip 10 of these and be okay. It should be easy enough to get the 5. But yeah, roughly speaking, that's what you're looking at. Though there's lots of ways to supplement Champion Chase tournament points with fragment champions, Broadmaw fusions, login champions, that sort of thing. But there it is. The bigger thing though here is alongside this 2x Voids, on Friday we will get a 10x for Bayek, and then on Saturday it's going to be a 10x for Solanar. Both of those 10x events will be up for 24 hours only. That does mean obviously there will be Sunday where you could pull and have no 10x event. I don't know who would do that. And the question we're going to answer, or try to answer in this video, is give you reasons to go for either Bayek or Solanar. But yeah, they are the two newest Void legendaries, right? And they're both extremely good. So I don't know who would be sitting here going, bro, I have them both already. I'm going to pull on Sunday. I mean, you would clearly chase one of these, I would say. So let's go. Let's look at Bayek first. So Bayek, he is, I think the big reason to chase Bayek, the biggest reason, is that he is a limited champion. He is only available until the start of April, the 8th of April, for any Americans watching who are very confused right here and going like, what's happening in, I don't know, what month is the, like, August? What's happening in August for 3 days? No, this is until the 8th of April, and then he's gone forever. You can never get him again. That is the number one reason to chase him. He is a time-limited champion, whereas Solanar is going to be in the game forever. So there you are. Let's look at the in-game reviews for Bayek. They're looking decent. I think they're underrating him a little bit, actually, after testing him. My favorite thing about Bayek, I think I lean more towards PvP myself as an end-game player, but I'll obviously cover his PvE viability as well for progressing through. I'm just, I used to be super interested in PvE, but now I've got such a crazy account, it's not quite as interesting right anymore. But this this passive here, Siwa's Pride, this champion, so Bayek and his allies, cannot receive critical hits from enemies whose accuracy is equal to or lower than their own accuracy. So essentially, when the enemy attacks you, if you have more accuracy than them, cool, they cannot land a critical hit. This is bonkers. You can check out my video testing Bayek. I was absolutely shocked by how insane this is. And I think Bayek is incredibly viable because of this. Just this passive alone can basically win you entire arena fights. Like you can see, we tested this out against, let's say, a classic champion who is, wrong faction, who's crazy good. Empress, right? The free mythical. One of the best nukers in the game. Obviously, he struggles a bit against Mercurial as well, but that's a whole other thing. But like, he has this huge AoE nuke, and he can be boosting his ignore defense, ignoring an additional 50% defense because he's building low accuracy, right? That's the typical Empress build. Build low accuracy, you get this cracking AoE nuke. If anyone is dead, you start getting this double hit A1 that can block revive. He is stupidly, stupidly strong. Bayek makes it so that guy cannot land a crit. He can't crit. But more importantly, like, let's say I see a Bayek on arena defense. I go, oh, they have a Bayek. Okay, I can bring increased accuracy. I can bring decreased accuracy. I can build someone like a Carnage, a damage dealer who's building high accuracy. I can see the Bayek. I can prepare for it. What this is incredibly strong at is when you're on offense, let's say I'm attacking a classic arena team, I'm attacking a tag arena team, I'm attacking a siege defense. If I can bring in Bayek and I see that they're using, let's say, an Empress or a Predator, heck, even a Nice, though Nice does get bonus accuracy in its alternate form, there are tons, absolutely tons, of top tier arena nukers who do not build high accuracy. And Bayek also brings increased accuracy in his kit. You can very easily make it so that they cannot crit you, which is nuts. But like, you know, for example, like let me say, I mean, let's look at my Embersony. I mean, let's look at my Karosa, right? My Karosa, I love her. She has almost 400% crit damage, but she only has 247 accuracy. We make it that she cannot crit, and you're removing like instead of hitting for a bonus, so it's like an extra 374% damage. So let's round it up to 400%. Instead of hitting for the base damage plus 400%, so instead of hitting for a total 500% damage, she's now only hitting for 100% damage. She's hitting for 1/5 of the amount of damage that she would realistically do if she crits. You've reduced her damage by 80%. And indeed, with Karosa on top of that, her critical hits are also boosting turn meters for dead allies. So you remove that effect as well. Like, it's kind of nuts. Bayek could potentially be, you know, the more geared they are, the better it is, really. The more crit damage they have, the more you cripple them. But you're easily reducing enemy damage by to 1/3 of what it would normally be, possibly 1/5 of what it would normally be. Even for new players, you're reducing it by half at least, I think, because it's pretty easy to be building over 100% crit damage. 200% mid game, you're reducing it to 1/3 of what it would be. Like, it's insane. And yeah, this can just win you fights, and it's incredibly strong with champions who are building high accuracy. So I ran him with Hilvi and Tormin. They're both champions. Lovely pairing that are building pretty high accuracy. They love the increased accuracy buff. They love the increased defense buff for the Tormin. They can't be crit. It's kind of nuts. So I think I am a huge proponent of Bayek in PvP. Now, when your opponent knows it's coming, it's not such a big deal. But again, you could pick him up in live arena and they go, oh shit, we just have, like, what are we going to do? We can't crit this team. I just can't kill them. I have to ban the Bayek. Have to. Yeah, you could polymorph him to remove him from the fight, but it's awkward. So I think he's insane. And that, okay, that's his PvP rant. He also has, obviously, Perfect Veil, increased defense, increased accuracy on the whole team on a 4-turn, but he gets an extra turn, so it's effectively on a 3-turn. Then he has AoE decrease, accuracy and resistance, and provoke. Can be a 2-turn provoke. On a 3-turn, he's void. And his A1 can put leech. He's rotating through his moves very quickly. Loads of buffs and loads of debuffs. Just insane utility. You could probably tell, Bayek is my preference for this. I think Bayek is probably better. Now, Solanar. Let's talk about Solanar. Solanar, I think coming into this event, more people are going to be... I think the default is, ooh, Solanar though. Bayek, cool, but Solanar, because he is newer, right? He is the newer, more hype thing. He's the current fusion partner, so he is more exciting. Reasons to pull for Solanar, he is obviously an incredible damage dealer. He only has a few reviews right now, but you can see they are cracking reviews. He is insanely cool. It's a bunch of really nifty passives. So, on his A3, he takes 75% less damage on enemy turns or instant turns while the skill's not on cooldown. So if they go before him, this is particularly good against mythicals who want to metamorph and nuke you, which is loads of them. Empress, another perfect example. Garol, loads, tons of... It's the most common archetype of mythical champion is... alternate form is a nuker. It's the most common, and he's protected from at least their first turn doing it, and very good against champions like Shuzhen as well, who can give instant turns. Not that common, mostly sort of anti-mythical thing. We'll go to his A1 actually. Whenever an enemy gets an extra turn or has an instant turn effect activated, he can counterattack. He can also counterattack when enemies get turn meter boost. You can check out mine. I haven't done a full showcase of Solanar, but I did throw him in for some of the Noldwa, the gloaming testing in my fusion testing. Check out that as well. So this is a really, it's like a Marius type anti-mythical move. He's AoE. Counter-attacking with his A1, which is really powerful. The anti-turn meter thing is actually kind of bonkers. Like, if you roll the dice and you proc this a couple of times against enemy teams who are boosting turn meter, he can just nuke the whole team out of existence. It's kind of disgusting. And the fatigue debuff is actually pretty nifty as well, to be honest. So yeah, that's crazy good. His A2, is insane as well. So it ignores a bunch of defense for each buff on this champion. So you can delete somebody, but it's almost better not to use this move because Solanar is immune to all debuffs while the skill's not on cooldown. And when enemies try to put debuffs on him, he gains a buff instead. It's just crazy. It is just crazy. I didn't mention with his A3, obviously we mentioned the passive, but with this skill, he also steals all buffs and all turn meter on enemies not under Stone Skin. And if they are under Stone Skin, he ignores the Stone Skin, and he can just delete people through Stone Skin very easily. And yeah, whenever enemies are getting instant turns or extra turns, whenever they have their turn meter increased, he does decrease the cooldown of this skill once per turn. So he gets back to this skill pretty quickly. It's a huge single target nuke, and it can help him rotate through turns very quickly. Then he has a passive as well, where he just counters enemy healing, and he gets healed instead. If Naldua is there, so actually if Naldua is there, he doesn't get any healing, but he makes the healing that they would have received become damage instead, which is insanely strong. And yeah, also he comes back with full life and HP, with full HP and turn meter whenever the whole team is dead. He will just instantly revive if he's dead already, and he gets a magma shield that's equal to 300% of his max HP. The magma shield reflects all the damage it takes. So if you have him with 50,000 HP, he gets a 150,000 HP shield, and that will reflect all that damage back. So very threatening to nukers, and he can potentially come back and just solo the whole enemy team. If Naldua is there, the buff is protected. Otherwise, you can just remove it or steal it or whatever. But it's an incredibly strong passive that makes it very dangerous because he is actually fairly squishy. But yeah, if you kill him first and then kill his team, you risk him coming back to life and potentially just wiping out your team. It's pretty scary stuff. So he is very strong. I think he's mostly for PvP. That's one of the differences for me. Bayek, I was raving obviously about Bayek's passive for PvP, but if we ignore this, and this is not so useful in PvE, most enemies in PvE cannot crit you, though this will help a lot with the Lion form in Chimera. That would be a classic example of an enemy who can crit you. It will help you. Phantom Shogun is obviously very easy dungeon after it was nerfed, but if they add hard mode Phantom Shogun at some point, he can make it not be able to crit you. That's really, really nice. He's got increased accuracy and decreased accuracy. Very easy to hit this threshold, but most enemies don't have critical hits baked in. Also a couple of things that can bypass this. Anything which will guarantee critical hits will bypass this. So there are some champions. Solanar is a perfect example. So Solanar plus Naldua do counter him because he always crits if Naldua is there. That overwrites Bayek's passive. The Death Dealer Relic. It's a mythical relic. I don't have one, but the Death Dealer Relic, it guarantees critical hits. That will bypass his passive. You will always be critical. There are some champions, so funny if old Void Legendary, not very good, but Ethos coming back into the meta, maybe, always crits on his A3, and he's got a triple hit A2. Beautiful. Destroys Total Guard from Mercurial set, and always crits. Counters Bayek. Nice. But yeah, Bayek, though, what was I saying? I was saying he's very, very good for PvE. Incredibly good for progression because he's got so much utility, and he's got the PvP viability. Solanar, not so great for PvE. And one thing to note, this doesn't work against bosses. Bosses still debuff him. This is only enemy champions, but very strong for wave-based content. Won't help against bosses. But for PvE, he's fine, right? He can spam an AoE. But enemies in PvE generally not getting much turn meter. Generally not getting many extra turns. They don't have Stone Skin, really. He will absolutely smack with this move, that's for sure. So he'll be a good PvE damage dealer, a generalist, but he's not a PvE specialist. He's a PvP specialist. I will say they're not the best faction, actually, High Elves, for PvE. He'll certainly be the best damage dealer, pretty much. Yeah, in fact, yeah, he is the best damage dealer for High Elf Faction Wars. Very strong with Fina. Very, very strong with Fina. You could just run like Ethlen plus Solanar, and bam, you've got like Faction Wars hard done damage-wise and control-wise as well. Not too bad. So, yeah, he's fantastic for that. But yeah, other than that, so yeah, look, there you go. Things to consider. I personally, I'm sort of Team Bayek. However, that being said, right? this is obviously the 15x event. So for me, I'm still skipping this because I'm going for the heroes path. So that's something to consider. But even more than that, right? So just in terms of how are you doing the fusion, but considering what events are going to be coming in the future. So I do actually value Bayek a bit more than Solanar, which is a spicy take. It's a hot take. Many people might disagree. But crucially, what events are we likely to see in the future? So, I mean, if we look at this, I thought this Champion Chase tournament, especially because it's voids and it's confirmed to be voids, would have been a good place to put win the Champion Chase tournament, and the winner out of 100 players per tournament would get Solanar. Are we going to get events to get a Solanar? Could he be in this hero's path? It's definitely Nuldua's soul. Might have a Solanar soul. Will Solanar be available guaranteed in this hero's path? I kind of feel like no. I feel like it's certainly not guaranteed at all to get a guaranteed event for Solanar. It could happen. Equally, it might not. It's really hard to know, right? Like Ancora, we had a guaranteed event for her partner 2 years ago in February. But last year, Esme, we didn't have a guaranteed event for Moto, her partner. And he's worse than Narcisse, but we didn't have a guaranteed event. Hard to know. Bayek, I think it's more likely that we have a guaranteed event for Bayek, but it's also not guaranteed. He might be just like only available in like Prism pools, maybe for winning a Champion Chase tournament, maybe for winning a Champion Training tournament. It's certainly not guaranteed that we get a guaranteed event for him either. But because he is a time-limited champion, I think it's more likely. So, because he's simply going to be gone forever, I think that they will... There's obviously no reason for them not to run lots of Prisms and Void guarantees for him. But, they could put in a really expensive Heroes Path or a Guaranteed Summon event or a Deck of Fate or whatever. They could do a really, really expensive event to get Bayek at the end of this event. Because after that, he's gone. There's sort of no reason for them not to milk that cash cow at the end of the event, right? Why not do a gigantic guaranteed event for him? The only reason I could think of them not doing it is because they want to keep us on our toes and keep us guessing, and basically trying to pressure people into gamble, being like, ooh, if there's a really OP time-limited Void Legendary, you might never get them again. You better pull for all those events for them, because, yeah, we might not do guaranteed for them. It's like, it's that metagaming thing. The thing, look, we also have a Void Legendary Augustin, or Augustin, if you're French, in this Assassin's Creed event. Now, he will permanently be in the summon pool. He is the event dungeon boss. Like, he sort of fits the typical event thing of being like the like, if we think about Shredder and Leonardo is another perfect example, the most recent example. We had Shredder and Leonardo. Shredder, the event dungeon boss, no guaranteed event for Shredder, even though he was time limited. There's no guaranteed. There was like a champion chase or I can't remember if it's champ chase or champ training. You had to win a tournament, I think, to get him. That was the guaranteed source. Whereas Leonardo, the other Void, they did make accessible to everyone. I wonder if it will be the same thing with Augustin and with Bayek, where they'll do an event for Bayek. So yeah, but it's that big question. We just don't know what's coming. I think Bayek actually is probably he's not as exciting as Solanar. Damage dealers are flashier, they're more exciting. But I think Bayek is the easier champion to use in live arena and stuff and really make a splash. Obviously, Solanar is ridiculously good as well. They're both insane. But yeah, I generally prefer Bayek a little bit more. I'd love to have both of these champions. They're both crazy. I think Bayek's a little bit better, but I think it's more likely we get an event, a guaranteed event for Bayek. But he also, he's also time limited. So I don't know. I'm conflicted. If I was pulling this weekend, I would pull for Bayek, basically. That's what I would do. I would go for Bayek because he is time limited. And heck, if they do run a guaranteed event for him, it means you could skip that and save your shards. Solanar, I think that Solanar is more likely to be a champion they just run lots of 15x events for, and they don't make him a guaranteed champion. But you never know, right? Because a lot of people picking up this fusion. This would be a big chase. Like any 15x event for Solanar for the next year or two would be pretty juicy, and then he's going to be power crept anyway. he'd still be good, but he won't be as insane. Sort of like Narcisse. Narcisse is really good for a while, but now he's good, but not too crazy. I think it's a similar sort of thing. But he is obviously super high value for the next year or so. So there's a pretty good reason for them not to make it guaranteed for him. But you never know. You never know. So that's where I'm at. In short, I think stick to the fusion plan. I think it does make sense to skip the 10 fragments here, only grab the 5, just dip your toes in, and really be prepared for the hero's path. Because, certainly Naldua's soul is almost definitely in there. Could be a Solanar soul. Is it worth getting a Solanar soul without the champion? Probably not. But, yeah, that whole event is coming up. I'd be more looking at the hero's path. And for this weekend, if you're pulling just a few little shards, I would tend to go for Bayek. Yeah, I think it's more likely we get a guaranteed event for Bayek, but his time-limited nature, I think he's just easier and more generally useful to use, so I would go for him. I think Solanar is the newer, flashier thing, but I think trying to get a Bayek while you can is more likely to be insane. Because I genuinely do think you can slap this guy in as your last pick in live arena and have enemies panicking, being like, we cannot deal with this. You can just probably win a bunch of siege. You just go, this attack is now just a free win because they can't crit my team and they've got no way to deal with it. I just have more accuracy. They are screwed. Their arena defense is just screwed. Their siege defense is just screwed. So yeah, that's my my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think. Solanar or Bayek? I'll probably put up a poll on this as well. Obviously I'm saying Bayek is what I chase more, but I want to reiterate, they're both top tier voids. They're both extremely good. But yeah, I would just be leaning more towards the less flashy support. But you guys know me, it's sort of my thing at the moment. I just value supports more. Damage dealers get power crept so quickly. Supports, especially someone who can do something pretty unique like he can, tend to hold value for longer and yeah, be a bit more special. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts. We had lots of thoughts in this video, so plenty to talk about, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.